Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another third-party unlicensed 1/6 scale figure unboxing and review. Today we're taking a look at the Toyz Turbo Studio Moon Man, aka Mr. Knight from Moon Knight, the Disney Plus show. Now, this just happens to be the first version of Mr. Knight released by a third-party company, but there are at least 2 more on the way, and yes, I plan to review them all and compare all 3. But we'll see, there might be a few more coming as well. Now, I got mine from toyswonderland.com. I have popped the link in the description below for your reference purposes only, because this thing is an unofficial figure. This is not a promotional video, this is a review on a figure that's going in my collection after this review is done. While you're down in the description, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button, so you're notified as soon as a brand new review goes live on the channel. As for the box art, nice and simple, understated, yet also classy. We have an image of Mr. Knight front and center, and no, that's not the actual figure, that's actually an image of Mr. Knight from the show. Up top, a moon on theme, then down below, Moon Man. On the side of the box, Toyz Turbo Studio and TTS 003. Because technically, this is their 3rd release. I did review their 2nd release being Two-Face. What was their 1st release? I don't know. If you know, let me know down below. And Two-Face, he was okay in my books. He wasn't perfect. There were a couple of things they could have improved on. For the most part, I was happy. So with Moon Knight, I'm hoping for the same thing. Up top, Moon Man, and you do have their social links, then down below, warnings, and also legal info. Was that snap transition entirely necessary just to lift up the top cover? No, absolutely not. I apologize, I got a little bit carried away. Up top, we do have Mr. Knight's jacket, packaged separately, and then Mr. Knight himself. And first in-hand impressions are, number 1, this leg is really floppy, but number 2, this body is surprisingly really heavy. What we are going to do now, though, is get all of his accessories, love that display base, laid out in the light box and take a closer look at everything he comes with. Starting off with the display base first. Like I said, I love this display base, it looks so cool. We've got the Fist of Moon Knight up top with this textured surface and a moonerang or crescent dart, depending on what you want to call it. Moon Knight, the show logo smack bang in the middle, but around the front, also Moon Knight, even though this guy is Mr. Knight. I get it. You wanted to use the show logo multiple times, but there's no need. You really should have printed Mr. Knight. Up top, we've got this adjustable crotch grabber, but this style of base, I've never seen before. I'm pretty sure it's their own creation. I like the hexagon, it matches with Hot Toys bases. However, this crotch grabber pole combo, just not my thing. I much prefer that metal wire adjustable crotch grabber that Hot Toys uses because it's way more low profile. You do get 2 batons. They're a little bit chonky. They are painted in silver and gold. We do have some hieroglyphics sculpted into the surface. However, no washes to bring them out, so at a distance, they kind of blend in, where I would have preferred them to stand out. Starting off with the masked head sculpt with Steven's eyes showing. Oh no, what on earth happened here? These eyes, some of the worst painted eyes I've ever seen. They look downright cartoony. The skin texture, far too yellow, no detail, no definition. The mask at least has some sculpted texture, and also this line up the front, plus there's some scripture in the moon itself. However, the overall shape kind of looks really skinny. There are some suggestions of ears. Just for me though, I don't love the way this looks. Popping it on the body may change my mind, so we will do that. Of course we will, because if we don't, he won't actually have a head sculpt. This mask is the same exact sculpt, although the eye area is completely different, because these eyes, they're translucent. Now, to activate the LEDs, we have this little core piece. You can see that there are some batteries. We flick the switch and the LED turns on. You simply insert it inside the head sculpt, pop the neck connector back on, and voila, his eyes are lit up. Not super well. We will of course try out both head sculpts, and I'll pick my favorite of the 2. Notice how I said out of the 2 head sculpts, I was talking about the Mr. Knight ones. This Khonshu head sculpt, it takes the win automatically. just because it looks sensational. The sculpted detail for the texture of the bone on point. There is some airbrush shading, a subtle translucency to it, and there is also a wash in the crevices to bring out all that sculpted detail. The neck being translucent plastic, genius. So when we pop it on the body, maybe, just maybe, it'll actually look like it's floating. Lastly, a full array of hands. Open palm hands, gripping hands, trigger finger hands, and closed fists. There is so much texture here. We've got these little ribbed pieces on the back, and we also have a bunch of detail around the front. I'm fairly certain I have seen these gloved hands before with other third-party figures, so maybe they borrowed them. Or maybe they're their own sculpt. Either way, they get the job done. What we are going to do now, though, is get Mr. Knight himself out here. Standing straight up and down in the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that. Except for the display base. Why is the display base here, I hear you ask? Well, he can't stand. I mean, y'all saw his leg earlier in the unboxing segment. It's no secret, this guy, he tumbles over constantly. I'm hoping it is just mine though, and if you get a copy of this guy, he's going to be a lot more sturdy, and he can stand. My copy simply won't. Now, the proportions here, very weird. Not sure what's going on, we will discuss it in a lot more detail. The outfit on top of that body, it's not tailored great, because it does look kinda big and baggy, but that could also be the fault of the body. Then the head sculpt, even from a distance, it's not really working for me. I'm not trying to say this guy is a terrible figure right off the bat. Seriously, I'm not. There are certain things that do redeem him, but there are other things that really let him down. Up close and personal, kicking things off with Moon Knight's first head sculpt, the one with his people eyes. And, this just ain't for me. I don't like the way this looks at all. Those eyes, they look kinda cartoony and almost a little bit creepy. The skin tone is very flat, there's not a ton of definition to it. The mask has some texture sculpted in, but no washes to bring it out, so it looks very plasticky. So in my display, no, I'm not going with this head sculpt. This one is an improvement, and I definitely prefer it over the creepy eye head sculpt. The LEDs, they don't work super well because that little core piece inside kind of rattles around freely. It can either look good depending on the angle you pose it, or like the LEDs aren't on at all. I would have preferred the eyes fully painted, just with a subtle blue glow around the edge, to mimic the light up effect without actually going with LEDs. And once again, no wash on the mask, so all of that sculpted in texture, it's just completely lost in the whiteness. Now that is a head sculpt. This is so different, it's so out there, it's very unique. So in my display, yeah, I'm going to display this guy, and yes, I'm going to display him with the Khonshu head. He's got a very long beak, we've already discussed it in the accessory segment. And the clear neck connector does kinda make it look like it's floating, from the right angle. From other angles, you can see the ball joint, but that's not a huge deal, at least I don't think it is, because this guy, oh, he is going to stand out. People are going to walk in the room and say, hang on a second, who's that bird skull guy in a suit? And then you can say, well, that's Khonshu, and explain the whole thing. The outfit from a technical perspective, the material choice, the pattern, the print, it's all well done. I'm also not blind. I can see the way it looks on the body, and it looks very messy. And I'm pretty sure that's not the fault of the outfit, it's the fault of the body, because what are these proportions? His shoulders, they're completely sloping down. It looks awful. Also, his arms are too big and bulky for the jacket. There are multiple layers here, and you can tell it kinda looks Mego-esque or doll-like. If you switch the body, okay, maybe there's a good figure here, and I intend to do that, but out of the box, I can't really say that I love the way this looks. Now, the jacket itself, the cut is good. It tapers in at the waist. The lapels are accurate with the print on the surface. There's a decent level of herringbone texture to it, and there's a pocket square, which you do have to insert yourself, so yes, that's a working pocket. His vest also has printed lapels. It's double-breasted, although these buttons, I'm pretty sure they're supposed to be grey, with some scripture on the surface, but I can forgive that. Underneath the vest, which is held on with press studs, a white shirt, and a tie. The tie is an actual knot, which is a good thing because the knot is wrong. They've gone with some kind of Windsor knot where it's supposed to be an Eldridge knot. I am going to try and fix it myself later on, but I don't know if it's going to be possible because that knot is very intricate and this tie is kind of thick. At least the print looks good. His pants are white, just like the suit jacket, and they're made of the same material. It's relatively lightweight, also potentially a little bit too thick for 1/6 scale. I like the herringbone once again, and there's a pleat iron down the front, very subtly. Also, there's no belt, which would normally be fine if the pants actually fit this body, but his legs are far too long, so you can see the top of the pants poking out from under the vest. And yes, I have tried to adjust it. They're already at the max height. They won't go up any further, so this whole mess, always visible. His shoes, fully sculpted, and they look good. There's some leather texture on the surface, and on the underside, some sculpted tread. Did Mr. Knight wear Converse? Cause that tread pattern is very familiar. Please, let me know down below. So, you know how on the front of the box, Mr. Knight isn't wearing his jacket and he's rolling up his sleeves? Yeah, don't do that, cause when you take off the jacket, his proportions are so much worse. The slope at the shoulders, way more exaggerated, and his traps, pretty much gone. Now the vest does try and fake it like the jacket does. It fails spectacularly because there's a drop down here. It looks very weird. Plus, his forearms, completely unpainted skin tone plastic. And his cuffs, they're sewn together so you can't roll them up anyway. So for me, yeah, I'm going with the Khonshu head and I'm having the jacket on. Always. But not right now. I gotta finish this review first. For a quick side-by-side comparison, Mr. Knight by Toyz Turbo Studio on the left, and on the right, Hot Toys Shang-Chi. Yeah, you got me. I didn't know who else to go with. None of the other Moon Knight figures are out, be it third-party or official, and Shang-Chi, he's another relatively new addition to the MCU, so I think this works out well. Mr. Knight is too tall. And that's down to the body choice. I've already spoken at length about how I don't like the body, and this is just more evidence to that fact, because he doesn't scale well with Shang-Chi, and his proportions, they're way off. He's even taller than Vision, who, by the way, is the new version from WandaVision, who in and of himself is taller than the original Vision from Age of Ultron. So if you're putting together a Disney Plus display and you're wondering, ooh, how does Mr. Knight scale alongside the new Vision? Well, Mr. Knight, he's actually a hair taller. Going over articulation without the suit jacket on, because if you think about it, adding more layers to this guy is definitely going to hinder articulation. Starting off with the head sculpt, it's on a fixed neck with a ball joint at the bottom. Looking forward and back, swivel and pivot side to side. The arms will go up to there, they will go forward and back, butterfly joint at the shoulder that hinges up and down, swivel at the bicep, double bend at the elbow that's really fighting me to go past 90, then a hinge and swivel for the wrist peg. The torso does crunch forward and back, swivel and pivot. The legs will go forward to there, going out to there, swivel at the upper thigh, double bend at the knee, but this looks really nasty. Then for the ankle, it's a big old hinge and swivel, so that means it can go forward, it can swivel, but if you want ankle rocker, you actually have to rotate the joint, and then it will go side to side. Wrapping up on Toyz Turbo Studio, Moon Man, aka Mr. Knight from Moon Knight, the Disney Plus show. I feel like I'm about to recite an obituary for this guy, cause we are going to do the post-mortem autopsy, and the cause of death? Multiple issues. First off, the body. What were y'all thinking? It's terrible, proportion-wise and height-wise, it just doesn't work. It fills out the suit in all the wrong places. There's buckling, there's bunching. It just doesn't work here. Then the outfit on top of the body, it's cut well. I like the fabric, it just doesn't work in practice. And the tie is wrong, and some of the details are wrong. I get it. This is the first Mr. Knight to hit the market. You could have taken your time, Toyz Turbo. Just refine the details and picked a better body. The head sculpts, I don't love. The Khonshu one is the best of the three, and that shouldn't be the case. This is Mr. Knight, not Khonshu. They also should have painted the forearms. and they should have done washes on the masked head sculpts. And the base should have said Mr. Knight, so like I said, multiple issues. Right now, I don't recommend this guy. Who knows, maybe I'll review the other two Mr. Knights, and this guy will come out as the winner. But as it stands, just wait and see. Wait for the other two, and then make your decision. I will be reviewing them all, don't worry. Now, I got mine from toyswonderland.com. I have popped the link to their site in the description below for your reference purposes only. This is by no means a promotional video, because it would be a really shit one. I literally just told you not to buy this guy. This is a review on a figure I picked up for my own personal collection. While you're down there, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button if you like the sound of seeing your name in the end credits of my reviews. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video.